What we're going to do is find a cheap small form factor PC. So all we do is go onto eBay, and if we just search for PC, and it should take us straight to PC desktops and all-in-ones. Now it is possible to have a look through some of the auctions to try and get a bit of a bargain, but what we're going to do is sort by lowest price and buy it now. And what you'll come across is a lot of cheap PCs, but what we're particularly interested in is an ultra small form factor one. So we're just going to keep scrolling until we start finding some. At the moment, current prices, I wouldn't expect to find any under £40, but you might get lucky. But they tend to start at around £40 to £45, or the equivalent in dollars. So we've got HP ProDesk 600 G2. Now unfortunately that one's not got CPU, RAM, hard disk drive or a power supply, so I wouldn't waste your time buying that, because you'll need to get a lot of extras just to get it up and running. So we'll keep scrolling. So that says that it's an ultra small desktop PC, but it's not the form factor we're looking for. You can tell by the size of the USB ports on the picture there that it's not quite the right size. So we'll keep going. Just watch out for the Dell Wise thin clients. Some of the older ones just don't have much of a CPU in them, so you won't be able to do much with them. So we'll keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until eventually, what's that one there? So the Asus i3-3220T box, won't bother with one of those. They've got an Atom processor, very underpowered. You want something with an i-series processor of the Intel variety. So we'll just keep scrolling again until eventually, at around £40, we will start to see some. Just note as well, watch out for free collection in person, because they will not be delivered. So you don't want to do that unless you find one that's local to where you live, in which case you might want to do that. Save yourself a bit of money. Still not reached any yet, but we're not far off, I can assure you. There we go. So we've got an Elite Desk 800 G1 mini PC with an i3-3220T, but it hasn't got any RAM or an SSD, so you will need some RAM and an SSD or mechanical hard drive. Got one here, the M73, $42.99, no RAM, no HDD. So again, not great. This one here, it looks like there's different options. Just try to avoid those. But eventually, you will start to see a few in your search results. Sometimes there's more when you look, but other times not very many. And here we go. So we've reached a listing here for a Lenovo M73 with Windows 10. It's got a Intel Pentium 2.5 GHz, 4 GB of RAM, 60 GB SSD, and it does have Wi-Fi built in. So that's around the 48.59 mark. But what I will show you is the one that I purchased, which unfortunately is no longer available, and it was this. So it's the Lenovo Thinkcentre M72e, tiny i3-3220T, 4 GB of RAM and a 320 GB hard drive. So let's jump in and take a look at what I received. And here it is, like some kind of DHL merch, an official DHL bit of packaging there. So let's get it open with my amazing screwdriver. It's been a long while since I've done one of these, or I bought a second-hand PC. I think a lot of you did join the channel or subscribe to the channel because you did quite enjoy videos of that nature. My most viewed video is actually one where I am opening or unboxing and using a second-hand PC, not too dissimilar to this, well, very dissimilar now, but in terms of where the specs are compared to currently how specs are on PCs. This is kind of a new 2021 edition. So we've got loads of packing peanuts. Fantastic. So I'm going to try and pull this stuff out without getting packing peanuts everywhere. So we have here a power cable. So I'll just take the wrapping off that. And yeah, we've just got a UK power cable. Very nice. And then we've got, in this box, I'm assuming this is the power supply. So I'll just unwrap that and we'll take a look. And there we go. Got an official Lenovo power supply. Lovely stuff. What else have we got in the box? I'm assuming there'll be the PC itself and nothing else really. So yeah, just get rid of these packing peanuts in a box. Toss that to one side. And here we have the hardware itself. Oh, it's looking in very good condition so far. Fantastic. So I'll just come a bit closer to the camera and show you this before I start to unravel everything. So on the front we've got two USB, microphone in, headphone out, power switch or power button depending on what you want to call it, and around the sides not much going on, but on the back we've got a display port, two more USB, another USB which looks as though it's kind of where there should have been an HDMI port, but we'll find out what's going on there. Yet another USB, Kensington lock, the input for the power supply, VGA out, Ethernet, and just a little clip there. I think that's for wires, just to keep them from pulling. On the underneath we've got the Windows 7 license. I'm not going to show you that. Not that you better do much with it. So specs wise, this Lenovo Thinkcentre M72e should theoretically have an i3 processor, 3rd gen, the i3-3220T, and it should have 4 GB of RAM and a 320 GB hard drive. So let's get it whacked open and we will find out what's occurring. So to open these, it's just one screw on the back there. So we'll just open that up. Then the top should just slide off like so. And there we go. So we've got the hard drive here. And that was manufactured 4th of November 2013. 320 gigabytes at 7,200 RPM. Very good. Under here will be the processor. Just take that off. Take a look underneath. And there we have it. We have the processor and we can swap that out, so we would be able to upgrade this. So I'm not going to rub the cooling paste off the processor simply because I'll be able to check in the BIOS what processor this is. I don't really want to waste any of my cooling paste on this because it seems in fairly good condition. So we'll pop that back in. And we'll just pop that back on too. And next we'll just take a look at the hard drive in a bit more detail and see what's underneath. So to do this we just slide back the SATA connection from the hard drive and just get it out of the way, and then you can see there's a screw there and a screw just tucked down there. All we do is loosen those. That's the first one. And that's the second one. Just get those screws out there if you can. So then we slide it to the right. And then there's some little clips, which I don't think you can see them, but you just lift it up. But watch out because the internal speaker is still connected to the motherboard under the hard drive, so just have to pop that off, and then there we go. It is free of its housing. Can remove the hard drive from the chassis using the 4 screws there, but we're not going to do that. And underneath we've got two, I believe these are DDR3 slots. One of them's occupied, and this looks like the original component. It's got Lenovo written on it, although it is a Samsung chip, and I'm assuming that's 4 GB of DDR3. Other things we've uncovered there, we've got a mini PCI Express, so we could add Wi-Fi capabilities to this using a laptop style mini PCI Express card. Let's put that to one side. And you will see I've just removed the CPU cooler again, and what I'm going to do now is just remove this fan, which is the system fan, the exhaust on the back. We'll see if there's anything exciting under there. So we've now stripped it right back, and we can see it's in quite good condition. So I did kind of clear out a little bit of dust off the Intel chipset that had just mounted up underneath the fan. The fan is a bit dusty itself, so I might give that a bit of a clean. So what we're going to do is put it all back together. So what we're going to do, we're going to plug the device in. We're going to take a look at what it's capable of. Now to do that, I'm going to connect it up to my television. Now, if you may remember, there's no HDMI ports on this. So what I'm going to use is a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, and then I'm going to plug HDMI into the back of that. And there's also no Wi-Fi, and I need a mouse and keyboard, so just going to use one of these today. So Logitech, can't remember the name of the model, but I'll put a link in the description below, and the dongle for that. And also a Wi-Fi dongle, again links in the description below. So we'll put those in some of the USB ports that aren't in use, which is currently none of them. So we'll put the keyboard and trackpad in the front actually, and then we'll connect up DisplayPort to HDMI. I'll just go get the HDMI cable to put in the back of it. There we go. And then we just need to give it some power, so we'll do that now. And as you can see, unfortunately we're getting an error there saying that there's no operating system installed, or no operating system found rather. So it's just going to keep going through a boot loop until it finds an operating system. So what we're going to do, there's a Windows 7 license on the box. We can actually use that to install Windows 10. So I'm going to get that done now. So all we need to do in order to get the Windows 10 installation media set up, you need a spare USB memory stick, and once you've got one of those, all you need to do is just Google Windows 10 media creation, and top result should come up, which allows you to download the Windows 10 installation media tool. So you just download that. Once that's finished, click yes to the prompt, read the terms and accept them if you agree with them, and it'll ask you what you want to do. So if you just select create installation media, and then you can choose which type that you want. So you want 64-bit, obviously change the language if you need to, and then select USB flash drive. Just choose a drive that you want to use as your installation media, and just wait for it to finish. Whilst we wait for the installation media to finish, what I will tell you is I've done a little bit of digging to find out what processor we could put into this machine. So in theory we could go up to a Core i3-3220T. However, they're quite hard to get hold of and they're quite expensive for what you get. With that you would get an 4-core 8-thread processor, which would be nice, but yeah, very expensive upgrade to such an old machine. Another alternative, which is a bit cheaper, is an i3-3220T. That's similar to what's in there with the i3, but it's got a max turbo of 3.3 GHz per core, so that's quite nice. The i3 processor that's come with this PC does have Intel HD graphics, the 2500, which does run a clock speed of up to 1.05 GHz. So it's going to run some light gaming, potentially some gaming from the early 2000s right through to the 2010s. But other than that, you're not really going to get much else out of it in terms of gaming, but we are going to try some. After a short while, you will get a message saying that your USB flash drive is ready. All you need to do is click finish and we'll pop it in the PC. So we've created our USB media for Windows 10 installation. So just going to switch the device on, see what happens. And there we go. We are now in the Windows 10 installation screen. So I'll just quickly run through that. So when it asks us for the product key, we're just going to flip the PC over and just put the product key in off the bottom of the case. So eventually, once the Windows 10 installation process is finished, you will be presented with the desktop. And then you can install Steam, you can install anything off a USB drive, or you could get an external DVD drive, plug that into a USB socket, and away you go. You're playing the original flat out at 1080p using a very cheap Xbox controller, a wired one, and the experience is amazing, to be honest. This is really cool. Full 1080p gaming. Oh, it's just a shame I'm not very good at it. So again, we've got GTA Vice City running at 1080p. Admittedly a little bit strangely with the controls that I may need to adjust, but it's looking very nice. Right, after a bit of tinkering, I've got the controls sorted out now. So here we go. We do have full 1080p resolution GTA Vice City running on the graphics that are embedded within this i3 processor. Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 in 1440 by 900 resolution. There we go. Running perfectly well. So there we have it. The 48 or so pounds PC that we got off eBay. Very, very impressed with what it can run. In terms of early 2000s up to 2010 gaming, fantastic. Just on the inbuilt graphics, and it's so small as well. You could sorry, I'm looking at it over there. It's so small you could just tuck it behind your television and you wouldn't even know it's there. There's a few potential upgrades that I would offer up to this PC. So I would probably put an SSD in there. SSD storage is fairly cheap now, and the speed at which games will load up will be much more impressive if you do upgrade that. So I would probably get a USB Bluetooth dongle for the PC so that you could connect up an Xbox One controller if you've got one. This just unlocks such a vast amount of classic games from the early 2000s for such a low price. Admittedly, yeah, for around the same price you could probably get an Xbox 360 and the games on that. If you've already got a Steam account and you've got some classic games on there though, this presents just fantastic value for money. I literally, no complaints here. Fantastic. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, then please do hit subscribe below. If it's not, then thank you for continuing to support my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.